Hey guys, Brad Pryor here with Grip Branded, hanging out with Wesley Thorp today, getting ready for the NFR.
Getting ready. It's coming up. Ready or not, it's here.
Where are you from?
Throckmorton, Texas, in between Abilene, Wichita Falls.
Okay.
Yeah, right on the brink of West Texas, kind of.
Living in Stephenville now?
I live in Stephenville now. Yes, but
Like
lived there for 11 years, I guess. Right after high school, I moved down. Always wanted to live there since I was a little kid, and I've liked it ever since. I don't really see myself living anywhere different anytime soon anyway. I really like it. I like Stephenville a lot.
I think it's appropriate. It's cowboy capital of the world. So.
Yeah, it comes by it honest.
There you go.
Yeah.
How's your family?
I got a family. I got two boys and one girl. The boys are 8, 6, and Lila is 10 months.
Oh, wow.
And then Suzanne and I have been together a long time, but we got married, I guess, right after my first NFR, 2017. So
I got you.
Yeah.
Any more kids?
No, I think 3's good for me.
Yeah.
Three's good for us.
That's
I think
plenty.
we got our hands full now, so it's a fun age. The boys are big enough; they're pretty self-sufficient. They can help a lot, and they can kind of do some stuff on their own. Lila's pretty laid back, so she's a lot of fun. So it's at a good stage. Everybody's like, 3's got to be hard, huh? And I was like, I think it was harder when the two boys were little, when they were that little and mobile, and you're changing 2 sets of diapers, and they're both trying to laugh at you and run away.
Yeah.
And trying to tear up everything they can. I think that was harder than now because they're both, a lot more mature, and little girl's so much different demeanor. So
Yeah. I have twin daughters, so I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, might as well have 5 at that point because you're just running
used
around
to it.
pulling your hair out.
Yeah, and you're a little more immune to it by then too.
Yeah, for sure. So what's it like being on the road, having a family?
You definitely plan more ahead. I mean, it's not, you don't want to fly by the seat of your pants. The first year out there rodeoing, not knowing anything, you could make last minute decisions and where you're going to stay, and we'll kind of figure it out as we go. And now it's just, you don't want to do that. You want to know your stops, where you're going to be, plan a week or 2 out almost, or right after you're entering, you're making, which Tyler has a family too, so he's in the same boat. We're making plans on whose house we're going to stay at, or where are we going to practice, or what do we need to do, or when we go to fly in with our buddy team across the country, where's the family going to stay? Like, what rig is going to go where, and who's going to sacrifice their rig that week, or if there's a stock trailer we can use for a short trip, we'll figure out how to get that, and just kind of plan ahead. Really is the most important thing, but it's also relieving because it's hot in Texas in the summer anyway. It's hot. It's super hot, and about 1st of June, I'm about ready to get out of here for a little bit anyway. So having them with me, you don't get that homesick feel of like, man, I wish I was home. And I think if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to be gone nonstop throughout the summer. I mean, be gone for 2 or 3 months like that would be off the table for me. So I think that's kind of what keeps me able to do this, and they're still at an age they enjoy it.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite stop during the summer run?
Man, honestly, it almost seems unfair now compared to when we first started at how many cool places we get to stay at.
I would agree with that.
Like, it's unbelievable. Like, we have really, like, people have turned into family out there that we get to stay with and spend time with, where it's awesome. Like, you'll never forget those memories. Like, no matter how, when I step away from this, like, I'll always still want to go spend that time with those people. There'll be people that we're lifelong friends with, and that means a lot to me. So it's like, I don't know that I could say we have a favorite stop per se, just because we get to stay at so many cool places and different times of the year, and that makes it really nice. 2016 was first year, didn't know anybody, and obviously as you're meeting people, they're extending, hey, come stay with us, and you build those relationships. But now it's like, it's unfair. It almost seems to me like the cool opportunities that we get and places we get to stay.
I think it's also a unique situation too. A calf roper, breakaway, or barrel racer, they just have to worry about themselves and their family. When team roping, you have 2 individuals that have to share a trailer, and they have a family. I feel like that would get a little crowded sometimes.
Yeah. You just got to plan. Normally so is what we'll do is when we leave for the summer, we'll each take our own rig, and then if there's going to be a stretch, we're gone for 3 or 4 days, but with the buddy team, our families will all stay in one space. And like Tanner, he always had his trailer out there, and we would get in, all four of us would get in his trailer and take it, or we'd get in Travis's trailer and take it, or, we might have a stock trailer out there we had access to, and I'll take that, fly over and meet it. So it's like we're taking separate rigs, but we're still utilizing the best, travel plans for all of us, to where we're not just all four going everywhere burning fuel,
You're out. When do y'all leave for Vegas?
We leave Monday the 1st, December 1st. I'm going to fly out. The rig will probably leave Saturday, Sunday before, but I'm going to fly out on the 1st with my family.
Gotcha. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool. You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. My kids love Vegas. Like
Oh, really?
They love it. Like Charlie, my 6-year-old, like last year they asked him what he wanted to do for his birthday. He said he wanted a weekend guys trip to Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So I said, it sounds a little more innocent, I guess, if it's coming from a 6-year-old. But I just hope he doesn't say that when he's 21, I guess.
Yeah, that's my problem, for sure.
But anyway, it's pretty funny. They love it. I mean, they go to the arcades. They do the flyover deal, the hand glider simulator, 3D simulator. They love that. They go to the M&M factory. I mean, they really do like they go bowling. South Point, it's a good spot for them to hang out too. Sometimes they rope the dummy with their friends, but yeah, surprisingly, I don't think anybody gets burnt out of Vegas. I mean, by the end,
crazy.
Yeah, they love it.
I wouldn't think that, but
yeah,
that's awesome. As far as mom and dad, where are they at?
My parents, so they live in Throckmorton still.
Oh, okay.
They come down almost every week though and visit. It's only about an hour and 40 minutes. It's not far. Pretty easy drive, but my dad ropes all the time. He goes to the 40 pluses, here at Weatherford at Kerry Kelly's, or he'll go to the Hamilton to the 40 pluses World Series. He's going somewhere every weekend, even the weekday roping. So he's an avid team roper. He comes ropes at the house, so I get to see him every week. And they don't want to be gone long from the grandkids. So they're my granddad. He lives there too still. He's 92. And he gets to come down and see us some, and I'll go home occasionally throughout the year. Like we're gonna go home for Thanksgiving, and try to make it home a few times a year to see everybody and spend time.
Gotcha. If a new up and coming guy and they're fixing to hit the road on the rodeo trail, what would you give them advice for as traveling, getting married, having kids?
I would say, get around the right people for one. I think that's in anything. When you're young, it's so important to be, around people that have already paved the way and already made mistakes, and people that you want to be in that position or be, headed that direction. I think it's just important to get around them and learn from their habits and learn from the way they go about things. And that usually rubs off to kind of making good decisions, making plans. I think, I was 21 when we had Matthew, and like that might have been the best thing for me. I've heard, you hear both sides. You hear people say, don't have kids till you're 30 and don't, be established and this and that. But for me, it was such a driving factor. Like I looked at things through a different lens, and I spent a lot of time just to myself, like trying to map a roadmap out in my head of like, what does this look like? Is rodeo the best opportunity for me? And I had to think about it a lot. I'm like, I was still at a, kind of a grinding stage just to see if I could make a good living at it. I was able to win and able to make some money, but it always comes with the rigs and the places that you're always you're at such a scratch and claw stage of the game at 20 years old for me. And, the ERA year was going on, so those guys were sitting out and knew they were going to be back, and I happened to make the finals that year. So it's like, well, am I good enough to stay in the game? Am I good enough to sustain this? And, I needed more horses. I needed more. So it's like, for me, I had to sit down and just look like, is this the right path for me? Because, I am bringing, Matthew is going to be here in a few months. And for me, I thought, with the opportunities in the rodeo industry and the connections you have and the the evolution of where it was headed, I was like, man, I think I've always wanted to do it. Let's keep rolling and make it work. And it has. It's been awesome. But it dang sure made me really I always had a plan, don't get me wrong, but it's like it really made me focus on what mattered and to really start taking certain decisions seriously. And I just kind of got after it, I guess.
Right. Who do you look up to, or who did you kind of model yourself as you become a pro? And being successful? Who was there a mentor or somebody that was involved that you?
Growing up when I was younger with my roping, Speed Williams helped me with my roping, and Tyler Magnus helped me when I was first starting out a bunch. And then those guys helped me a lot with my roping. I always liked being around them. Thought it was great what they had accomplished and what they did. And as I got older, I got to be around other people, like through, even sponsorship connections and guys that I liked, I looked up to, and I admired, and I liked how they did things, and I got to learn from that and watch. And I got to buddy with Patrick Smith some, and I didn't know Patrick very well. I knew him here and there, and obviously knew he did things different than everybody else. I mean, he just had a different way, different outlook, different approach, different hustle to him. And, Trevor, I got to see that in front of me too. Like he was on the back end of his career when I very first started, so I hardly ever got to see him, but I got to be obviously in the same industry and see what he had done. And it's just, when guys are successful, like there's a different approach to how they go about things. There's a different aura, what they kind of put off. And to me, I got to know Patrick more and more, and then we got to buddy with each other, and we buddied several years in a row, and just seeing how he went about it. He was like I said, he was about to be on the back end of his career. So the lens he was looking through was a lot different. I mean, it was, what's after road. I mean, he'd already started other things and been super involved. So just to get to see his hustle behind it was rewarding, or was really cool for me to watch, but, and be a part of and share ideas with. And I mean, we talked about roping, 10% of the time probably when we traveled. So I've had a really good group of people I've gotten to be around. And I feel like that's helped me as much as anything. I mean, when they say you become an average of 5 people you spend your most time with, I feel like there's so much truth to that, because it never felt, I mean, you get in that room and then those things rub off, and then the next thing you know, you're in a different room, and it's like, if I could be the dumbest guy in the room, I'm doing something right. If every time, you never want to be I don't ever want to be in a room where I'm like, you're stagnant. I mean, I want to be in the rooms where I don't feel like I know anything, and they're talking Chinese.
And a lot of people don't understand how that feels. It's very intimidating, but on the other side, that's what makes you better.
Yeah.
And I tell my kids that. I've told people around me that. I was like, some rooms I walk in, I don't know a soul, but I'll at least try to know 2 or 3 people by the time I get out of there. The people I think will have something that will rub off on me, or I can rub off on them. That might lead me to something else over and over again. You have a life hero, like your dad, or
I've never, my dad was incredible at how he, looking back, watching him, how he helped me through the junior rodeo ranks and just helping me learn. He was so good about staying out of my way, in a sense of he wasn't those parents that are yelling at you and holding you back and all this. I mean, he was very supportive, and he never got on to me unless I threw a fit or had a bad attitude and those type of things. So he was so good about the way there's so many things that I've learned from him through that I will carry on through my kids. But as far as one person, I don't know that I have a specific, I kind of look at it how I learned to rope. I took each quality from different guys. This guy swung a certain way, this guy rode a certain way, this guy rode these type of horses, and tried to put the best of that into it. And it's you can learn a little bit from everybody, and you don't, you can listen to everything. You don't have to take everything. You can pick what you think works for you and molds with your goals and your vision, and you can mold that together. And I just get to be around so much of a diverse group of successful people that I feel like I just try to take what I can from everyone and learn from it, and be able to bounce those things back and forth. And I think asking the right questions are the most important thing. I mean, 10 years ago, I didn't know how to ask the right questions. Right. You got to know where to start. And it's I think humbling yourself too, to realizing nobody has all the answers. Even those guys that are in those rooms that are so talented, they don't have all the answers. They're spending every day asking questions, learning the best avenues, where to go. So dropping the ego factor to act like you're supposed to know this or that. I think you don't have to. You don't have to have the answers. You just got to have the willing to listen and learn and spend the time and kind of be ready to stick it out.
Yeah. So when did you know, hey, I think I got this?
Hopefully
when you felt like you're elevated above
after Hopefully after the 10th round this year. I think when I'm 30, after the 10th round, and maybe it all goes good, I think I'll have it figured out. No, I know what you're saying. Golly, like I would say part of me in the back of my head has known I've always had it, and part of me thinks I'll never be able to sustain it, you know? And it's like, it's that constant battle. Like I know I'm good enough, the potential's good enough, but is the day-to-day good enough, you know? And I still feel that way. Like when I mean, right now, this would be my 10th time going to NFR, and round 1, I'm still going to be wondering if my preparation was good enough. And I don't think that's like a lack of confidence, but to me, it's also maybe been one of my strengths is like, don't forget the details. Don't forget the little things you've worked on preparing and all the things that have to go to make it work, because like I've had just as many struggles throughout the year this year as I ever had the first year. You know, like there's ups and downs and spells and slumps and things that just days it doesn't feel right. So I think I just don't take that for granted. You know, that it's you can feel your best and rope your worst, and sometimes you can feel your worst and rope your best. You know. Yeah.
I've been in business 23 years, and I've struggled up to about 21 years into this to say, okay, because construction is very volatile. You never know if you're going to have work or not, and we mostly build extra stuff for people. You know, not always a necessity. So, you know, there for a while, I always afraid I was going to go broke. You know, or if I hire these people, I'm going to be able to afford them. I'm going to keep enough work. You know, add another crew, do this and that. But it took me like till 21 years till I actually felt, okay, this is actually a legit company. This is going to work. You know, but what made me get that feeling was having a hell of a team around me. Yeah. Where I could finally know that there's pretty much every piece of the pie is being looked at by other people other than just me.
Sure.
And that kind of made me fulfill that, okay, you can relax a little bit.
We can do this thing.
Yeah.
I would say, so when I started out in 2016, the first year rodeoing, for whatever reason, it made me think this. I told myself, like, I want to create a good learning experience everywhere I go. So, like, if it goes bad, I want to learn from it, learn that setup, learn where it felt hard, whether it's my horse, my position, whatever it was. I want to learn. I want to figure out a learning process throughout this, because I knew I was going to do it a long time, or I wanted to do it a long time. So over time, I wanted to make steady progress and learn from every mistake, and I truly did try to go about it that way. You know, if things felt, you know, this part of the year my horses were tight, and this was my thought process, I was too conservative here or too aggressive here. Like I wanted to be able to adapt that and work at home, work on the details, work on my preparation leading up to the next year, leading up to the next season even. Like, you know, the winter, spring, summer, fall are all different, a little bit different styles of roping, whether it's cattle or the way the head horses are that time of year. And so I just kind of wanted to learn from that. And so to be honest, like this is my 10th year, and I've just now, like, I realize obviously I belong if I do the steps that it takes to prepare. But I also realize how easy it would be for me not to belong if I shortcut any of that process. So it's a rewarding time because you're like, hey, I can do this. Like I've got a great support system. I got sponsors. I've got a great partner. I've got a family that that's willing to go with me in the summer. Like the puzzle is there for this to work. But it's also, there's a lot of other people that want my job, and they don't give a rat's ass about what I got going on if I don't stick to it. So it's like that's what keeps me. And I will say I run less steers now than I used to. Like I don't rope as much probably, but I try to be more intentional how I do it. Like the preparation, more preparation goes into each horse, more preparation goes into this type of steers and what we're doing this day versus that day, and so. The raw running as many steers as you could back in the day, that's valuable, but it's like, how do we organize that and to get the most out of it?
Right. What's your, what horse are you taking, or how many are you taking?
Well, so they got the kind of the virus deal going around, so they're kind of limiting it. You know, there's no grand entry and all that stuff, so I really am not going to take a backup. My good sorrel got hurt at the end of the year. He'll be out a little longer, and I was going to take Juice out there, but I'm riding Colby Payne's horse, the Bay that won Horse of the Year this year. So I'm going to ride him. He's going to take Turbo. And, you know, worst comes to worst, we can both ride him or whatever happens. If something gets hurt or something falls out of line. So I'm not even going to take Juice because I don't really want haul him out there just to be in a stall, the whole time. But I could get him out there overnight if we had to. But so really just one horse out there, and it's the bay that they call him Coon, one horse of the year this year. Yeah.
So you think that's going to be a pretty interesting setup with the dynamics of what's going on in our world right now with the horses? Like, just most people may have 2 or 3 stacked. Now they're having
yeah. I think definitely way less horses are going to be out there. No flag horses, no extra horses, no grand entry horses, so I mean there's going to be a lot less than normal. I don't know how they're still going to do a grand entry. I don't know what they're doing yet, but I don't think it'll be horse. Obviously it's not horse related, so I don't know what it's going to look like. It'll be a little different. I know their regulations are pretty heavy right now. Like, we got to check their temperatures every day, log from the vets, got to sign off on things, and definitely trying to keep a pretty good hold on it to know what's going on where before they get there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to understand with this going around that we care just as much about the horses as we do our kids.
It's pretty impressive to see that. Yeah,
I mean they're well taken care of, and the last thing we want to do is for them to be sick. It's not about competing; it's also their horse. They're part of our family. We don't want nothing to happen to them at all. So like we're going to be minimal on risk.
Yeah, no, it's been. I mean, I think more people have stayed home with the horse deal than they did when COVID first came out. I mean, there was a lot of unknown at first. Some, everybody thought the world was in it. Nobody knew what, some people said, screw it, I'm headed up on about my day, and some people didn't. And I haven't seen anybody just buck the system on the horse stuff. Everybody stayed home, stayed put, hadn't taken any risk, and everybody's checking their temps daily and go. If anything happens, they go to the vet, get them checked out. Like, everybody's been on top of it.
Yeah, that's what I love about our world.
Yeah,
it works that people are really in tune with that kind of stuff and not being over the top or not disrespectful. So when we're sitting at the end of y'all are set in a box, if people could read your brain about what's going on right then, what would be going on, or what would you be talking to yourself about, or is it just dead silent?
For me, I try to work. I can't think about 10 things at once. So like, I'm trying to pick out the 1 or 2 key things I've been working on at practice. And I literally try to put myself in the practice pen, like what I've just been working on in that setting, and stick to that, whether it's, make sure I'm breaking wide enough because it's a little narrow pin. You don't want to get in too tight. I want to get wide enough and make sure I go down the pin far enough with momentum through the corner, or focus on a little more emphasis on my delivery after I get momentum through the corner. Whatever those two little things are that I'm kind of are key focuses, that's what I'm trying to tell myself and put myself in the practice setting. I put enough runs together practicing leading up to that in that setting where I just reverse the role and try to put myself in the practice setting.
Has the lack of steers hurt you any as far as practicing and events? You can't cross the core.
You can't cross them right now, or you haven't been able to for a while either. And it's I didn't have as many this year myself. Like, I had some saved throughout the year. I just tried to put away that were strong, and so I had 10 or 12 that were, and then really only about 5 or 6 compared to how they might be out there. And Tyler had been saving quite a few. He put together they're natives, but he's got a pretty sharp set over there, and he had like 40 or 50 to choose from, probably down to about 20 now. So he did have more saved. So that's been nice. I've been going to his house quite a bit, and then he's came down a time or 2, but I just didn't have enough really put together. His dad had pieced some together through the sale barns. He'd found some here and there, and some when you're not roping true inbrands, like, they don't last as long. They're not as strong and sharp, and like, they hit different. But I mean, he had 50 to choose from, and now we're down to still got 20 that are strong and good. And so it's like having that helps for sure. But I think you want to be, or I try to be more intentional with the practices anyway, leading up to the finals. I don't want to go run 70 and just torture all my horses and steers be loping. Like, I want it to be pretty realistic and run, 20 closer to time, 15 to 25 really quality runs, and on pretty good horses, like 5 on each and stuff like that, just to stay sharp.
So if T Wade misses, what's that conversation like behind the scenes? I think that's a real good question.
You never know what he's going to say. I guess it depends on how many he's missed.
What's the most comical thing he's thrown out there, or excuse?
Man, it's hard to keep up with him at this point. He's pretty funny about just dropping it. Like even out there, like I've seen him miss. If he missed one or two back to back, like he gets over it pretty quick. I mean, obviously he gets frustrated, but it's the way he puts it is used to. He's like, I was so hard on myself and I was miserable, and I would just go in a hole, like just get worse and worse. He's like, I knew that didn't work, and that's not my personality, so I kind of try to just shrug it off and figure out what to do different next time. And it's been pretty cool to see how it pays off. I mean, like 2023, we had, as bad a slump as you can probably have for 2 weeks almost, and then went to having the best rest of the season you could possibly have, and it literally flipped in one steer. And we just kept, I know that he's as capable as anybody, so like why would I get to worrying about him whenever I need to be ready to do my job? When I get the opportunity, I'm the chance to get us back on track if I'll come through. But if I drop the ball, then we're both just back and forth. So it's like it's my job to stay the course, and then if I do my job and he gets some confidence back, and then we're rolling again, or if I'm having a bad dry spell, I've never once worried about what he's thinking on my end. So like there's a lot of value in that. And as far as team roping goes, like to know that he's not looking over his shoulder like, man, why is he dropping, because you don't know in team, like we might drop the ball at Burley, Idaho for 2,500, or it might be the American for 100,000. And then it might be Sioux Falls for 40,000, or it might be Abilene, Texas for 3,000. Like they don't tell you when you're going to drop the ball,
Right.
So it's like you got to figure out how to. You're still on the same horse. Potentially it could be the same horse you're missing for 5,000 or 100,000. So it's like, you got to learn to deal with it the same, and that's hard.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
How if the outsider's looking in, how did you two figure out that y'all wanted to team up together? Was that a mutual thing, or one asked the other? Or how did y'all start your first date, I guess is the question.
So we had jackpotted together for almost 10 years, probably. Now at this point, it will have been 10 years, just third partners, second partners, fill in at the ropings. Like we were always, some ropings are near 3 times, some are twice. We were always roping together at the jackpots and had done well. We had done good for several years doing that, and it never even we'd never even talked about roping together. Like crossed our mind. Like he always had a partner he was doing good with, or I had a partner I was doing good with, and there just never had even been a conversation. And the way it went in 23, my partner was going to do something different. They hadn't had the best winter that they were hoping for, and it's kind of the end of that winter where it's time. You got the whole spring to decide what you want to do leading to the summer. It was kind of that point where there's change ups, and I told him, I said, hey, I need a run. Like I need somebody to want to rope if you're interested. And he thought about it for a while, decided they were going to do something different, and then we started roping together right there. And I think Logandale, Nevada might have been our first one. But we went to a lot of circuit rodeos, local amateurs, just to kind of practice together some, and we did practice together at home too, and then just headed out for the summer. So it was we got to make runs together rodeoing and kind of talk about it, and he knew that he could go a little further. I'd throw faster. If he got it on him, I'd make sure I tried to catch. We'd roped together enough. There really wasn't too much adjusting to what the other one needed. It was just maybe talking through scenarios like what we preferred, or hey, like I'm not the guy that we always have to win first. If we're last out and it's those tournament style where it's clean slate, if third's wide open, I'm perfectly fine for going winning third, instead of taking that risk just to try to win first to win a couple thousand more. Like just those little things we talked about just to be on the same page that we were both good with. And it was a good, it just never would have dreamed it would have gone even as good as it did. Obviously we've roped 3 years now, made the finals 3 times, and won the world twice, and hadn't got to rope at the finals a third time. So like it's gone as good as we could have ever imagined. Yeah.
T-Way's known for throwing his loop pretty much before the horse even gets past the barrier. That's his which I love it. I can't even get close to doing that. But you have such a short limit of time for all this to happen. A lot of people, I don't know if people realize that you're drawing 2 horses that are fixing to go within 3 seconds to 4 seconds to be in the money. somewhere in there. Depending on if you're looking at the average or the short go. But is there do you know as soon as he throws that he's going to be good, or are you looking at the back end just waiting for him to turn?
You can tell sometimes, like when a header gets the right go, and the steers, like you can tell like it's coming, and then sometimes you think it might not work, and it works.
Yeah, I've seen him pull off some stuff like that.
Yeah, because you're at a rodeo and the steer's flying, and you're like, I'm having trouble getting there, and he's behind me, and then all of a sudden it works. So like, I think at this point, I just stay ready. Stay ready.
Yeah, I just think the legit question is like, how do you know it's all fixed and lined up in that short amount of time?
So at the NFR, there's a lot of angles have to be correct. I mean, the head horse to the header, heeler, heel horse. I mean, everything has to be pretty aligned to be successful. And we've spent a lot of time trying to make a certain type of run to where I know what he's trying to do. And I can almost tell if it's out of whack or out of sorts for what he's trying to do. That doesn't mean it's not going to work, right? Like if he misses the bear a little bit, I just need to make sure I get to a little bit different spot, or maybe a little more conservative approach to stay in the average. If the steer comes left hard and is running, like we might not be 3 that night, so I need to know like, hey, stay in the average, keep this thing going. So you kind of know each other's feel. So there is a lot of feel to it. And when he hits the barrier just right, and I know he's within the 2 coils right at the line, like it's going to go on right. I know right where it's going to go on, and I just got to make sure I stay aggressive and look for the best throw. But it's, there is a certain type of run we're trying to build, and you can't perfect it every night, but we're trying to make the best run we can in that round.
On your ropes, do you have summer ropes, winter ropes?
Yeah, they'll tie them a little bit differently when the weather changes. But for me, like I've used MV4 for 10, 12 years now, off and on, other than the time the rope shop burned down. That's the only time I use anything different. But they tie them pretty much the same for me, except for they might just tweak them a little bit when the weather changes, just like anything. But I'm pretty consistent with the same rope as far as that goes. Like I don't change the rope much.
Makes sense. And one thing I've been very impressed, and when we started our relationship, we were at the BFI, and I've been very impressed about y'all too, is you spend your time with the youth. Can you talk about y'all's programs and the ropings you put on? Because I think that's a big thing. Like I love it when people reinvest in the future, and that's our kiddos. So
for me, like Tyler does a lot of lessons. I do lessons. We do schools together, and we help kids all the time roping and stuff. And like I had guys that helped me a ton when I was little, and like they did it out of the kindness. I mean, Tyler Magnus, he helped me a ton when I was 12, 13 years old. I went down there, and he just like he treated me so well, like really, really good to me. And like I felt like he was invested in me. Like I felt like he cared. It wasn't like I was in his way or he needed me. I mean, it was, looking back, like I admire it more now, even the position I'm in now, trying to help other people. I'm like, dude, it was pretty impressive how he made that extra time. Like he made me feel special every time I got there. And Speed Williams was the same way. Like I went to him when I was, right around there, 12, 13. Like I went to both of them some, and he was very good to me. Like he invested a lot of time, and he didn't always tell me exactly what I wanted to hear, but he told me exactly what I needed to hear. Mm-hmm. And I learned to like that. Like he meant well for me. And it was impressive to see how much those guys poured into me. So like I've always tried to do what I can to help kids and stuff. And Tyler and I, when we were roping, I've probably said it it'd be 5 years ago now. I told several producers, I'm like, you remember the Junior World that used to be in Ardmore? They had it in Ada, Amarillo. Like it was a big thing for a long time. Paula and Elton Kane, Twister Kane's parents, used to do it, and it was the coolest event ever. Like they'd have an open roping, and they'd have a pro-am with the youth, like the pros rope with the kids, and then they had young, 14 under, and then a high school and under roping. And it was a weekend long deal on Thanksgiving weekend. And I went to it growing up, and you got to be around Tyler Magnus, you got to be around Speed, you got to be around all the big pros, watch them rope, then you get to rope with them, and they wouldn't tell anybody no. They'd just, put us down. And so you get to rope with those guys, and then you get to rope with kids that are, you think you're doing good, and you show up there and get your butt kicked from some kid from Nevada you never heard of. Like it was kind of a who's who. And it was just fun. It was a fun event. Well, as they got older, they quit having it. And I'd told a couple producers, I'm like, man, somebody needs to pick up the junior world again. And they were like, oh yeah, it'd be a cool idea, and nobody really did it. And I told Tyler, I said, hey, let's do it. I said, we help kids roping all the time, lessons, everything. I said, it's hard for us to get in front of everybody. I said, this would be an opportunity to put on something that I think's missing in the industry, and we'll see where it goes. And it went like wildfire. I mean, we had 1,300 or 1,400 entries the first year.
Oh, wow.
2,400 entries the second year.
Oh, wow.
It was nuts. Like it was huge. I mean, we had people from all over. It was like 27 different states, 28 different states, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. I mean, it was nuts. Like so it's turned into a really cool event, and we've had to add an extra day to it next year. But for me, it's cool we're meeting kids. I mean, we know a lot of kids in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, all over. But like we've met kids that never met before. I mean, they're from Alabama, they're from Missouri, Kentucky, California. I mean, these kids are coming from all over. It was their first time to Stephenville. They've always heard of Stephenville, and that's where they're at. And so they made a trip down here for it. And that was pretty cool to see. And the parents were, almost beside themselves, thanking us for putting it on. And like, we didn't expect to do that. I mean, that wasn't what we wanted out of it. We were wanting to do it, and it was just been rewarding to see it come to what it is. So it's been fun. Like, we've been trying to figure out how to make it, better and incorporate everybody we can. Like, we added a lower division last year, a number 10, and we're going to add a 7 even next time. Like, we're on Sunday, there'll be a 7 in the second arena. So like, and on Thursday, we're going to have a girls breakaway all in the main arena, and then we're going to have a sled roping in the second arena for like true beginners. So
cool.
That'd be cool. There'll be anybody from a beginner up to best of the best at their age there. Cool. And everybody will have a chance to rope with the pro too, and the pro-am. So it's kind of it doesn't matter at what stage you're at getting into it, there's something for you. And then you can spend the whole weekend there and do something, and you can have a shot to rope with the pros and watch the pros rope. I mean, there's goat ropings going on nonstop too, dummy roping. So it's turned into a very unique event, way beyond our expectations of what it could be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Goat ropings are a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I like that myself. Yeah. So if you had to give an 18-year-old advice, or yourself at 18 advice, what would it be?
I would say get around the right people. Don't be afraid, chase whatever dreams you want to chase. Get around the right people. Don't be afraid to think big, and make the mistakes. Making decisions and making mistakes are going to help you get there faster. Don't be afraid to, don't be wishy-washy about making a decision or something that doesn't work, or if it felt, I had a guy tell me one time, I actually thought I was doing okay. I'm getting to a better spot, and like this better than I thought I was going to be at the time. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. He's like, hey, what happens if you fail? He's like, you're not very far from zero, and I'm like, God, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. It's like, but that's the rooms we talked about earlier, getting in. Like, when you're around people like that, they think that way. I mean, you're not that far from zero, and it's, so who cares, get after it, and you get one shot at it. So give it what you can, and don't be afraid to fail. And the best people you can get around, be around them and learn from them, and it'll rub off on you too.
I agree with all that. If you had to define one word for grit, your grit, what would it be?
One word.
One word. It's difficult.
Potential.
Potential?
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I like potential. I've always wanted to, like, whatever instead of setting an end goal of like, oh, I want to win world championship, I want to do this. Like, I want to, whatever my potential consisted of, I wanted to reach it. So I think for me, it was, if I could chase what I thought my potential was, that would be it for me.
That's good stuff. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. I appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us. Good luck in the NFR. We'll be rooting for you. And this is your 10th?
10th, yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Thank you for tuning in to Grit Branded and hanging out with me and Wesley Thorp.